Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, Maseches Taanis Daf Vav. We begin 4 lines from the top of the Amud. Tan Rabbanon, we learned in a brisa. The pasuk says, "V'nosati mitar arzachem beitoi yoyre umalkish." Hashem promises, if we keep the Torah, He'll give us rain in its proper time. Yoyre, that's the first phase of the rain season. Umalkish, the last phase of the rain season. Yoyre is what activates the seeds, what activates the growth process. Malkish is all the way at the end, the extra moisture which moisturizes and fills the kernels and completes the growing process. Tana Rabbanon Yoyre. Why is it called Yoyre? The first phase of the rain is called Yoyre because Shemoire Esabrios. It informs the public. La tiach kagesen. Go ahead and smear the tiach, the cement or tar or the waterproofing on those roofs to waterproof your dwellings in anticipation of the oncoming winter. Ula hachnas es perisein, and bring in their crops. Velas is kotzorchein, and prepare their towns for the winter season. So the first rain comes and gives you that message. Davar acher, another pshat in Yoyre, shemarve es aretz, it moisturizes the land, umashke atohaim, which trickles all the way down to the depths of the earth. Shenamart lameha rave nachas, we see marve rave, the rain moisturizes, saturates the land with moisture. Naches kedodeo bervivim to magigenot simcha tevarich, brings about bracha in the growth. Davar ach, another reason why it's called Yoyre, sheyored ben nachas, it comes down pleasantly. The first rains are pleasant. Ve'inu yored bezav, does not come down forcefully and harshly. Rashi learns, Yoyre is a lesson of teaching. One teaches his Talmud pleasantly. Divrei chachamim ben nachas and shmoim, with pleasantness, and that's the term Yoyre, sheyored ben nachas. Let's go over to Rashi on the top line. Yoyre, we have a pasuk v'nosati mitar arzachem beito yoyre umalkish. Why is it called Yoyre? Says Rashi, it's referring to the first installment of the rain. Revia rishoina hayeredes b'marcheshvon kedil kaman. So Revia is a reference to the rain system. The Gemara later explains why it's called a Revia. It activates the growth in the ground. And the first installment of that rain comes during Cheshvan time. Loma nikro Yoyre, why is it called Yoyre? Shemoire hen latiach agesein b'tiach shaltit shlo yitfu geshamim b'bayis, and informs the public to start waterproofing their roofs so that they don't experience dripping during the winter. Ulachas perisein sheinichu b'sadis l'yavshnad achshav, and bring in the crops which were left out in the fields to dry. Kotzorchein, or other things, shar dvar matzrichel mesagsham, prepare the roads and the villages for the winter season. Another pshat is sheyored ben nachas, it comes down pleasantly. V'chei mashma, that's how we see it from the pasuk. Yoyre is ka'adam shemoire l'talmidav ben nachas, like a Rebbe teaching his students pleasantly. D'chsev divrei chachamim ben nachas neshmoim, the devarim of a chacham are expressed pleasantly and softly. Inami, another reason why Yoyre is referring to Yored ben nachas, lashon chetz, like an arrow. Yoyre hahoylech b'yosher, which is directed in a straight line. Doesn't veer in either direction. So lashon achi here as well, shemiskavan la'aretz ve'ena yored bezav pesifri. It rains directly onto the ground in a manner which is beneficial to the ground. It doesn't veer to either direction, which means it's not diverted, it's not flooding, it's coming and actually providing maximum benefit to activate the growth process in the aretz. Okay, so the drash of this pasuk is that the Yoyre is raveh, it moisturizes, it saturates the aretz with rain. So 3 translations to the word Yoyre: instructs, informs the public to prepare for winter, saturates the aretz. Number 3, comes down pleasantly. Says the Gemara, how do you know? that the pasuk here is speaking in a positive context. Or maybe perhaps Yoira just means Eloshemeishers appears. Actually, it's a forceful storm which topples the crops. Umashtifes azroim washes away the newly planted seeds. Umashtifes eilanis, and topples over the trees and brings about destruction and harm. And perhaps the pasuk means, if you're going to listen to Hashem, you'll avoid the Yoira Malkish, which are actually destructive phenomena. So how do you know it's a positive context? Perhaps it's a negative one. Talmud Leimer Malkish. Yoira u Malkish. We connect Yoira to Malkish. Ma Malkish levracha. Malkish certainly means bracha. Gemara soon will tell us. You can't say Malkish means destruction. Rashi actually explains it. He says Malkish is at the end. It's Nisan time. You don't really have the fruit growing on the trees at that point. You don't have the newly planted seeds. So Malkish must mean bracha. Af Yoira lebracha. Likewise, Yoira is a positive reference, a bracha reference. Or maybe no. Malkish eloshem malpe lesabatim. True, it's not actually sharing fruit, which aren't yet there, but perhaps it's destroying the houses. Umishabes eilanis, knocking off the trees. Umales hasakoin. Lakish is a lashon of Arabic. Rashi says grasshoppers. The extra moisture brings about grasshoppers and destruction. Tamaloimi Yoira. We say Yoira or Malkish. We're going to learn in the reverse. Malkish compared to Yoira. Ma Yoira lebracha, just as Yoira is certainly a bracha. Av Malkish lebracha, likewise Malkish. Well, how do you know that? So we're sort of going in circles here. Yoira gufet minol. How do you know Yoira is a positive reference? T'chsiv. Ubnei Tzion gilu v'simcha b'Hashem Elokeichem. Klal Yisrael, be happy, appreciative for what Hashem did for you. Ki nosam lachem es ha-moira l'tzdaka, because He brought you moira, the yoira l'tzdaka, v'yoir lachem geshem moira malkash berishin. So we see that the Navi is referring to yoira in a positive context. Apparently, it's a positive phrase. It's a bracha, as we explained earlier, and therefore we connect malkash to yoira. They're both referring to a positive reference of rain. Tanu Rabbanan. So when exactly do we have Yoira? When is Malkish? Yoira is b'mar Cheshvan, beginning of the growth season. Umalkish b'Nisan, that's the end of the growth season. Ato oime Yoira b'mar Cheshvan, Malkish b'Nisan. So you maintain Yoira comes in Cheshvan, Malkish in Nisan. Or maybe perhaps Elo Yoira b'Tishrei, Malkish b'Ir. Perhaps it's a month earlier and a month later. Talmud Leimer b'Itay, Yoira or Malkish. Pasuk says that Yoira Malkish is a timely rain. Timely means it's synchronized with the growing season, with the planting season. Apparently, Yoira is Cheshvan, when you start planting, and Malkish is when you're about to harvest your crops. And that has a filling effect, makes the kernels plump and filled. So apparently, it's taking place at this particular time. Yoira is in Cheshvan, and Malkish is in Nisan. Now, what does Malkish mean? We have three pshatim coming up. Malkish, Amar Avnei Eloi bar Idi Amar Shmuel. Davar Shemal, it removes, like a mila, removes Kashyus and Shal Yisrael, the stubbornness of Yisrael. Rashi says, when there is no rain, we do Teshuvah. So Malkish, Mal Kashyusan. Dvire B'Shmal Tana, another pshat. Malkish means Davar Shememale Tvua B'Kasheha. Remember, it comes Nisan time when the Tvua is maturing. So Malkish, it fills up the Tvua B'Kasheha, it fills up the kernels in the stalks, and it has that positive, beneficial effect. Masnisa Tana, a third pshat in Malkish, Davar Sheyored ala Maliles ala Kashin. It rains on the Maliles. Rashi says on the heads of the stalks, of the kernels there, vala Kashin, on the straw itself. So it comes Nisan time when we have stalks with kernels growing as well. Tana Rabbanan. Yoira b'Malkish, b'mar Cheshvan, u'Malkish b'Nisan. Right, so we conclude that Yoira is in Cheshvan, Malkish in Nisan. Ato Omer, you maintain Yoira b'mar Cheshvan. Comes that early. Or perhaps it's a bit later. Ela b'Chodesh Kislev. It only starts in Kislev. Talmud Leimar. Be'ita Yoira Malkish. As we learned earlier, that we're speaking about a timely rain. Yoira and Malkish are there in the right time. Ma malkush be'itay, just as malkush, which is referring to the rain which enhances the kernels, makes them plump and full. Apparently it's happening at that time, Nisan time, when we have that need. Af yora be'itay, likewise yora is a reference to that first installment of rain which comes in its appropriate time, when you're planting your seeds, to have maximum benefit. So that's this shita, that yora, the first installment of rain, is meant to come mar cheshvan. Then if Gemini will be, we're going to see soon, the difference would be regarding when to start asking for rain. So that's what we do today. We start in Cheshvan because that is the time for Yoyer. But we're going to have a machlekes coming up. Tani idach, we have another brisa. Yoyer b'mar Cheshvan, malkash b'nisan divrei Rabbi. Okay, so this is Rabbi Shita. Yoyer is in Cheshvan, malkash and Nisan. V'chachamim oimrim, but we have a dissenting view. Chacham hold Yoyer b'Kislev. Really, Yoyer really extends into Kislev. The zman of Yoyer would be Kislev as well. In that case, you would only start asking for Geshem and Kislev. Man Chachamim, let's put a name to the face. Who are the Chachamim? Amr Rav Chizda, Rabbi Yosi. Ashitas Rabbi Yosi. The Sanya Ezihi Revir Rishayna. So we spoke about Yoire, referring to the beginning of the rain season, which is called Revia. Now, within Revia itself, the Gemara will tell us we have 3 points of rain. 3 zmanim, the first, the middle, and the last rain, all within Yoyer, within Revia. So what is Revia? And some take out the word Rishayna. What is contained within the rain of Revia? We have three parts to it. Habachira, the first point of Revia is B'shleish Mar Cheshvan. It's meant to come the third of Mar Cheshvan. Beininis, the next point is B'shiva Bayi, 7 Mar Cheshvan. Afela, the last portion of that rain, B'Shiva Saboy, comes on 17 of Cheshvan Divei Rabbi Meir. So it's pretty clear, according to Rabbi Meir, Yoyer, Revia, Rishayna is meant to start beginning of Cheshvan and extends all the way to 17 of Cheshvan. Rabbi Yehuda B'Shiva, it's only meant to start a couple of days later, 7 of Cheshvan, that's the first installment. Ubi Yod Zayin, the second installment on 17 of Cheshvan. Ubi Esem B'Shloisha, on 23 of Cheshvan, we have the third and final installment of the Yoyer system. Rabbi Yosi, we were looking for Rabbi Yosi. He postpones it a bit. He pushes it a bit down the line. B'Yod Zayin, so the first part of the Yoyer is 17 of Cheshvan. Ubi Esem B'Shloisha, the second installment is 23 of Cheshvan. Ubi Rosh Chodesh Kislev, and the last and final installment of the Yoyer rain system only comes Rosh Chodesh Kislev. In fact, he would maintain that until Kislev, it's not really so desperate. The don't even have to start fasting yet. If there's a lack of rain, until Rosh Chodesh Kislev, then you're in trouble. But until that point, you still have time to wait for your rain to come. In fact, halacha follows Rabbi Yosi that we can wait until Rosh Chodesh Kislev. The Yoyer extends until that point, and there's no real worry until that point. There's no real makom for Taanis. And likewise, when it comes to asking for rain, we're going to see soon, you can delay, you could postpone. You only have to start later, perhaps Yud Zayin B'Cheshvan, which is the starting point of the Yoyer, the first rain cycle. So we seem to have 2 approaches, actually three timetables when it comes to Yoyer. Does it start Mar Cheshvan 3, Mar Cheshvan 7, or Mar Cheshvan 17? And according to Rabbi Yosi, it starts in 17 all the way to Rosh Chodesh Kislev, which is the last and final installment of that first rain. Therefore, Yoyer is really technically not just in Cheshvan, but also extends into Kislev. Now, Ameimar had a different version. Ameimar masni lo laholer of Chizda b'halishna. He had a different version of Rav Chizda. Instead of Rav Chizda pasking like Rabbi Yosi, regarding the dating of Yoyer, he was referring to a different discussion regarding what's the starting point of asking for rain, which is slightly related, but he's actually going to pass like a different shita. Let's see. We have a Mishnah later on, which says that on the 3rd day of Cheshvan, we start asking Hashem for rain. Why? Presumably, this Tanakama is Rabbi Meir, right? It's meant to parallel each other. These Zmani She'ela parallels the Zman of Yoreh. According to Rabbi Meir, Yoreh begins Mar Cheshvan 3. Zman She'ela, likewise, takes place on that day as well, Mar Cheshvan 3. Rabbi Gamliel Omer B'Shiva Boy. Only start asking him, is Saint Talamata on the 7th of Mar Cheshvan. Apparently, he holds that the Zman of Yoreh only arrives then. And this is like who? Like Rabbi Yehuda in the previous discussion, who holds that Yoreh only begins on Shiva, on the 7th of Cheshvan. On this we have Amar of Chizda, Halacha K'Rabbi Gamliel. Oh, Zman She'ela is 7 of Cheshvan, like Rabbi Yehuda, that Yoreh only begins 7 of Cheshvan. And not like Rabbi Yossi, who gives you another couple of days, only begins on 17. So, according to this version of Ameimar, Rav Chizda paskin not like Rabbi Yossi. He paskin like Rabbi Yehuda. He paskin likewise like Rabbi Gamliel. Yoreh begins on 7 of Cheshvan, and Zman She'elas Geshamim begins on that day as well. Kiman Ozlo Hadasanya, and according to whose shita was the following brisa stated. If you experience 7 days of consecutive rain, you've already covered the first and second portions, installments of the Revia, of the Yoreh. And according to what Gersi here, we would add the word Oy Shnia Ushlishis, or second and third points of the Yoreh. Meaning, we spoke about the 3 points of Yoreh, the 3 installments of Yoreh rain. We have 3 shittas regarding the exact dates. We have a brisa which says if you experience 7 days of non-stop rain, you can be Yotzei either the first and second points of Yoreh or the second and third. Command Rabbi Yossi. This only follows Rabbi Yossi. Why? Explains Rashi and Tosfos. Rabbi Yossi is the only one who said that the points of Yoreh are situated within 7 days of each other. In which case, if you have 7 days of rain, you've covered both points of the Yoreh. For instance, according to Rabbi Yossi, point 1 of Yoreh is day 17 of Cheshvan. Point 2 is 23 of Cheshvan. Starts raining on 17, goes for 7 days. You've covered 17 and 23 in one rainstorm. Likewise, if it starts on 23 and rains consecutively for 7 days, explains Tosfos, let's say it's midday on 23 and goes until Rosh Chodesh Kislev midday, you have 7 days of rain. You've covered those 2 bases, number 2 and number 3 of Yoreh. This only works according to Rabbi Yossi, because according to the other shittas, the gap between the points are not exactly 7 days. It's either less than 7 days or way more than 7 days. So it won't work out, only according to Rabbi Yossi. Rav Chizda, Halach Rabbi Yossi, and Rashi's Guris, B'Shem is Rabbi, Halach Rabbi Yehuda. That fits very well because Rav Chizda here says that you start asking for Geshem on 7 of Cheshvan. Apparently that's the starting point of the rain season. This fits perfectly with Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. A Yoreh is meant to begin on day 7 of Cheshvan. Okay, so bottom line is, we have the Yoreh rain season, which starts somewhere in Cheshvan. We have 3 points of the Yoreh: Revia Rishona, Revia Shnia, Revia Shlishis. Now, is there any significance to this discussion? What's the point of mentioning the 3 points of the Yoreh? Asks the Gemara. B'shleima Revia Rishona. I understand why you mentioned the first part of the Yoreh. Lisha. That's when you begin asking for rain. Shlishis lis anis. The point of mentioning the third aspect of the Yoreh is to know when to begin fasting. There's no rain until that point. It's time to get serious. So the Yechidim, the Chasidim, the Talmidei Chachamim begin to fast. But Shnia Lamai, what's the point of mentioning that midpoint of Yoreh? Is there any significance to that? Says the Gemara, actually, we have no less than 4 applications for that concept. Amrav Zeirul and Adorim, regarding a neder. V'snan hanoider, adak shaman, made a neder. I'm not going to enjoy this or that thing until the rains. What does the rains mean? Mishi, or he says, until we experience the rains. It's referring to the midpoint of the Yoreh, the second installment of rain. Why, says Rashi on top. I'm going to treat it like a carbon. b'nedarim holchen achalosh b'nei adam. This is a general klal. We follow the accepted terminology. And ein kern geshamim l'rishonim. People don't refer to geshamim when it's just that first trickle of rain. Until you have that second installment. Now it gets serious. The roads are muddy. That's the true rain season. Geshamim is referring to the second Revi'ah when you have that repetition and it's considered in the thick of the rain season. Another pshat why it's Revi'ah Shniya. Geshamim mashamatrei, it's plural. The Revi'ah Shniya, the second rain system. So that's one nafkamina. Revi'ah Shniya pertains to Nedarim. Continues the Gemara in the second line. Rav Zvid Amar l'zeisim regarding olives. It's not. Meimasai kol adam mutern beleket b'shikcha v'peah. From what point onward can anybody go ahead and pick the leket, something which was dropped in the field and meant to be used by the ani, shikcha, something forgotten in the field and meant for the ani, v'peah, the portion left aside in the corner for the ani. So, at what point do we say that the ani gave up on it? Was Masiach Das, becomes hefker, and anybody can take it. Once the Nemoishes pass by, Gemara will tell us, lashon of examiners, you have the slow-moving aniyim, older people. Once they're done inspecting the field, the aniyim already give up any dreams of finding any more, and whatever you find in there is considered hefker and ownerless. But paired to boilulus, what about when it comes to grapes? Paired to what you drop on the floor, boilulus, those strange-looking, strange-growing grapes. So those are meant for the aniyim as well. At what point do we say anybody can take it? Once the aniyim went and inspected the vineyard, they came once and came again. They're no longer expecting anything, and it's hefker. What about bezeisim regarding olives? Once that second Revi'ah shows up, the second rainstorm, the olives are pretty much on the spoiling, on the verge of spoiling, and the aniyim already give up hope. You can go ahead and take it. So here we go. Revi'ah Shniya is a signpost regarding zeisim from the field. Now we spoke about nimoishes. What exactly is that? My nimoishes. Rabbi Yehuda Sabi, the older aniyim, the azli atigra, who use their canes to walk around. Rish Lakish Amar Lakuti Basa Lakuti. The nimoishes referring to the father who comes with his son. He checks, and his son behind him checks after him. Once they double check the field, everything else is hefker. So here we have another afkamina. Revi'ah Shniya pertains to the allowance to go ahead and take those olives from the field. Rav Papa Amma, here we have another application. Once the Revi'ah Shniya arrives, everything is starting to grow, and you may no longer walk through your friend's field. Typically there's a heter to walk through a pathway in somebody's field. There's rishus to do that, provided you're not going to damage the person's property. Once the rain season arrives, you must stop using that path. Damamar, we learned in Maseches Bava Kamo, Mahalchan Kol Adam B'Shvil Rishus. There's a special takana. I believe it was Yeshua was masakin that anybody can just walk through his friend's field. There's rishus to walk through the shvil, but that's only achetera the Revi'ah Shniya until the Revi'ah Shniya arrives. In which case, the farms are starting to grow, and you shouldn't be walking around and damaging his crops. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar, there's a fourth nafkamina to Revi'ah Shniya, the Vayir Pei Shvi'is. That's the starting point of chiv bir regarding Shvi'is produce. So you have some hay, some straw, which you've stored in your home, which is a Shvi'is product. You have to make sure that there's still some available for the animals out in the field. That's the halacha of bir. You can only store something which is still available out in the wild. At what point do you have to go ahead and clear your storerooms of Perish Shvi'is, of the straw and the hay? At what point can you assume it's no longer available out in the fields for the animals? Once the rain season starts, everything starts rotting. There's not admasai nenen, v'surfin, v'teven, v'kashal shvi'is. Until what point could you enjoy and use as fuel the teven and kashal shvi'is? Ad shetered Revi'ah Shniya, until the Revi'ah Shniya arrives, in which case You assume it's no longer available out in the fields, and you have to get rid of it. You can't store it past that point. My time and why? You can enjoy Shvi's products as long as it's available for the animals. As long as the animal has some supply available out in the field. Likewise, you can feed your animals in your home. You can store this product. But once it's become unavailable for the animals out in the field, that's it. You have to remove it. You can no longer feed it to your animals in your homes. So we have a total of 4 nafkaminas regarding Revia Shnia. Nidarim, the heter of removing the zaysin from the fields. Shvili harishus, and biur of shvius. Now we spoke about Revia Rishayna, Revia Shnia. Where does the term Revia come from? Amar Abavo, my lashon Revia, which is the lashon of mating. Davar sherevea es akarka. The rains serve as a zachar within a cave because it activates the tzmicha process in the ground. Rabbi Yehuda, mitra, rain is bala da'arahu. It's like the husband of the earth. Shnamar ki kasher yered ageshem hashalok ben hashamayim. The Torah compares Hashem's word to the geshem hashalok coming from Shamayim by Hashem's word. V'sham ala yashav. It doesn't go back there until it does its job, fulfills its mission. Kiyim hirvas aretz, it saturates the aretz. V'yilida v'yitzmicha. It triggers a birth process and a growth process. So we see that the Geshem arriving down on land acts like a Baal, which triggers a birth process. Interesting. It's actually fascinating that the earth is merely a doimim. Rambam says we have the Afar, we have Mayim, Ruach, and Eish, all elements of doimim. Here we take a seed, put it into a dead piece of earth, glob of Afar, and suddenly growth. We have tzmicha. Tzemeach is higher than doimim. We have doimim, on top of that we have tzemeach, and then we have chai, living being, and medaber, person who speaks. How could the offer, the aretz, which is just a doimim, bring about tzmicha v'tzemeach? So the fascinating thing is that the matar, the geshem, which is sent down by Hashem, contains some sort of spiritual word of Hashem, spiritual power, which when combined with the offer, generates that tzmicha and allows the offer, empowers the doimim down below to actually generate tzmicha, to bring about a tzemech, which is really much higher than itself. So that's the point of the revia. The revia, it's revia sakak, it activates the growth process within the offer. V'amaravo, revia rishayna, kadesha tered bekarka tefach. You know when you really experience the true effect, positive effect of revia rishayna, when you have enough rain which gets absorbed a tefach into the ground. Rashi says, even if you don't have much more rain than that, but you know that you have that much, that's a good sign, and there's no need to fast. Shnia, what about the second revia shnia? How much is required at that point? It saturates and muddies the earth to the point that you can use it lokava to seal up the mouth of a barrel. So once you get to that point, you know that at least you got something, and things aren't that desperate. Amar Chizda, Geshamim, right? Geshamim sheyardu k'dei lakav b'hem pichavis. Once you get to that point, you have enough rain which muddies the ground to that point. Ein b'hem mishum va'atzar. You know for sure you're out of the va'atzar category. The klal of va'atzar sashamayim no longer applies. Amar Chizda, Geshamim sheyardu koydem va'atzar. If it started raining before the zman when you read va'atzar, before Zman Kriya Shema, Ein Ba Mishum Va'atzar, you know you're safe, you're out of the Klala territory. You know it's a good sign. Rabbi Yehuda, this only applies Elakoidim Va'atzar, the Urta, that arrives before Krishma Shel Arvis. So early evening rain is actually very good and beneficial. It sits on the ground all night and facilitates moisture and is beneficial. Avokoidim Va'atzar, the Safra, but if you have some rain before Krishma of the morning, that's not such a good sign. That is actually an indication of va'atzar if it just rains early morning and no more than that. Why? The Rabbi Yehuda Yitzchak, these early morning light clouds, leisbu mashasha doesn't really have much meaning. The siv Ma asalacha Ephraim, what should I do for you, Klal Yisrael? My asalacha Yehuda, v'chazdachem, your good deeds are just flimsy, kanan baika, like the early morning, flimsy, fleeting clouds. Amalei Rav Papa Abaye. How could you say that? V'amr inshi, isn't there a common saying as follows? B'miftach bavi. In the morning, when you open up your bavi, your gates, your doors, and you notice mitra, it's raining, it's a rainy day, well, that's a good sign. Bar chamra. So we address the fellow who's involved with his chamar, he transports grain with his donkey, a grain dealer. We tell the grain dealer, you're out of business. It's not a good year. Moich sakech, fold up your sack, v'goni, and go to sleep on it as a pillow, meaning you're out of business. Lots of rain facilitates growth, generates bracha. Apparently, morning rain is good. Like Kasha, the answer is hadakata be'iva. If the sky is filled with heavy clouds, rain clouds, that's a good sign. Hadakata ba'anani, but if it's just filled with light, flimsy clouds, that's not going to bring much bracha. Amar Yehuda, tava l'shata, it's actually good for the year. The Tevis, when the month of Tevis is Armalta, is lacking rain, a dry Tevis, like an almana without a husband, like the earth without her husband. Ikad Some explain the reason is Bairi Tarbitzi. Tarbitzi, Rashi learns, are bet midrashim, where they are marbitz Torah, they spread Torah. Bairi, they're not fallow, meaning when the world isn't oversaturated with rains and the roads are passable, then Talmidim travel from town to town, learn Torah. So it's actually a good thing. Bairi Tarbitzi, but the midrashim are not fallow. Because the Amri, some explain, the reason is the shakel shutfan, it doesn't accept a shidaf in some sort of harmful condition which crops can experience, which happens when there's an abundance of moisture. So when Tevis is a dry month, it's a good thing. Eini, is that true, that Tevis should be dry? But Amar Chizda, actually the other way around. Tava l'shat, it's good for the year. The Tevis minavalta, when Chodesh Tevis is manuvel, dirty, they're muddied, full of rain. The kasha, the answer is, depends what type of year they had. If there were lots of rains before Tevis, then we need a break. But if there weren't too many rains before Tevis, then obviously we need rain as much as we can get. If only part of the town experienced rain, other part of the town did not. It's not necessarily a bad sign of Atzar Hashemayim. Why? Because Rashi says the lucky part of town will supply the other part of town with supplies. Really? It's not problematic. We have a pasuk which indicates otherwise. Even this is a klal. Part rain, part not. I prevented from you, I held back as ageshem. It's going to rain on one city, not on the other. Part of the town will have rain. And the pasuk continues, and the other part will not have rain. That's not a good sign. This is a double klala. The ones that don't have rain have a klala. Even the ones that have rain, that's too much rain is no good either. So how can we say it isn't necessarily a bad sign? The answer is, how much rain arrives on that part of town? If it rains a lot, it gets flooded, it ruins their crops as well. So we have a double klala going. But if it arrives as needed, then it's not so bad. So the lucky part of town will supply the other part of town with their needs. The wording the pasuk also indicate as such. Part of the town will be timata, which means the heimakamata will be full and saturated with much rain. Apparently we're speaking that it's flooded with rain, in which case there's a double klola. Here there is no rain, here there's too much rain. Amar Ravo, when a town was experiencing a drought, and suddenly there's rain, as man simcha, you make a special bracha. When do you make that bracha? At what point in the rainstorm? When do you make that bracha? The kras kala, when the chassan greets the kala, Rashi learns, it's dripping, drip after drip, and it dripping onto the ground, and what happens is, the water, the puddle down below, rises up towards the drip. So when the drip drops into the puddle sort of rises up correspondingly. So that's the chassan greeting the kala. The Ritva asks, what do you mean? Before we said that the rain is the baal of the aretz. So the rain is the chassan. The one coming down is the chassan, not the one going up. So he says, the rain versus the aretz is chassan versus kala, but the a drip coming down versus a drip rising, so that's the other way. It's the chassan rising towards the kala. What exactly do we say in this bracha? How do we express our appreciation? Rabbi Yehuda Marav, Moide Monach L'cha, Hashem Elokeinu, we acknowledge, we thank you, Hashem, Al Kol Tipa V'Tipa, She'eradet Lanu, for every drop that you've given us. That's it. Rabbi Yechanan, he added more. Messiah Bach, he added more. The nusach that we say during Nishmas on Shabbos, Ilu Finu Mole Shir Kayam, even if our mass would be full of song like the seas, Lushainenu Rino Kamoin Gala of our tongues ringing forth with song like the multitude of waves in the seas, and on as we have in Nishmas, it wouldn't suffice to thank you Hashem. Ad, we go all the way Ad Al Yazvunu Rachamecha Hashem Elokeinu, just as you helped us until now, don't abandon us. V'le Yazvunu Baruch Roiv Haidois. Hashem is Baruch Roiv Haidois. For the majority, He's deserving of the majority of Haidah. What does this mean? Roiv Haidois, only the majority? We thank Him only for most things? V'lo Kol Haidois, not all of them? Amarava, Ema, so in fact, change it. Kel Haidois, He's the Hashem of thanks. Amar Papa, no, actually, we'll say them both. I like both. Hilkach Nemrinu L'Tavayu, let's say both. Kel Haidois. Hashem, who is deserving of all thanks, the source of all goodness. V'Roiv Haidois, and also Roiv. What do you mean? Roiv is only most. Explains Rashi. Rav Papa changes the meaning of Roiv. Instead of Roiv meaning Rubai Kekula, the majority, no, it means Riboy. Hashem is a source of the abundance of bracha, which generates Haidah to Hashem. Says Rashi on the top line, we say Baruch Atah, B'Roiv HaHaidois, which doesn't mean Roiv as opposed to everything, B'Marbes HaHaidois, due to the abundance, the multitude, the many Haidois. Hakel Shal Kol Haidois. Mashma. So you say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Roiv HaHaidois, the Hashem, who is the Hashem of all the Haidois. But Roiv means the multitude, the many Haidois. Initially, the Gemara didn't learn this way. Hayamashma Roiv Mamish, V'loi Merubais. Most, not multitudes. Two different meanings to Roiv. It can mean most, which is problematic because it's all, it's not most. But it could also mean Merubais. Okay, so what did we learn today? We dwelled on the pasuk v'nosartem mitar artzach and v'ito yoyra malkush. Why yoyra? We have three pshatim. Yoyra means instruct the public, clean up the area, waterproof your roofs. It brings about moisture. It saturates the oretz, marvel oretz, and it's yored benachas, yoyra like a teacher, teaching with pleasantness and softness. Malkush is also three things. Mal kashushin shel Yisrael, it removes the hardness, the stubbornness of Yisrael when there's no rain. It is memali tvua b'kasheh, because it comes at the end of the growing season, Nisan time, when we have those kernels, so it aids and benefits the completion of that growth process. Or malkush, it comes down al malilos, on the kernels, valakashin, on the stalks as well. We learned that the Yereh season is comprised of three sections: Revia Rishona, Revia Shnia, Revia Shlishis. Firstly, why is it called Revia? Because it's the Baal of Haaretz. Now, why do we have the first, second, and third? What is the significance to that? The first Revia is regarding the Zman of She'el, and according to Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Yehuda, begins Zayin Cheshvan, and that's in fact when we begin to ask. We're saying Talamata, we do this in Eretz Yisrael, Chutz La'aretz, where there is not that much of a need for rain at that particular time of the year, so actually start later, so in the beginning of November. Regarding Revia Shnia, the nafkamini there would be regarding the Lashon for Nadarim, until the rains. Revia Shnia is the Ikar rain. Regarding the time to take the pay out of the field, you have to stop walking throughout your fields, through your friend's farm, and the Zman Bir of the Shemitah, hay, is Revia Shnia, when the fields are saturated and we no longer have available hay for the Kevin Vakash for the animals. What is the point of Revia Shlishis? That's the point when things get desperate. There was no rain until that point. The Yechidim begin their Taanis. Okay, we learned that Matar is called a Revia because it's Revia Sa'aretz, like the the Zachar with the Nekeva. We learned that a field, like a land without Oretz, is called an Almala, an Almana. That's what we said. Tevis is our Malta, lacking the husband. We learned about the Birchas HaGeshem, and the new meaning to the word Roiv Haidois. Instead of Roiv, it means Riboy. We thank Hashem for the abundance of goodness. Kol Tov to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.